a way that I now set goals that I feel that is much more empowering is by hitting milestones and then rewarding myself as a side effect of that. It doesn't always have to be financial, it could be anything else. But if you're doing things and then rewarding yourself as a side effect of doing something else, your goals are just elevated so much higher, rather than focusing on, I need this much money to buy this and then I think I'll be happy, because you won't. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you've been enjoying the episodes so far and you've been taking an insight into our community and just our processes of how we do things. So we sent out a poll recently about what kind of topics people want to see, and one thing that comes up a lot is goal setting. I think this is something that people overcomplicate a lot. They just overcomplicate the whole process. They think they need this perfect formula. I myself, of course, some of you may know, I've actually written a book on goal setting, which is 10 steps to achieving your goals. Now, although these are the 10 steps to achieving your goals, you need to realize that if you have a plan and goals, if you don't have passion and if you don't have visualization, you're not going to get to where you need to be, because you're not going to believe it enough. And one topic that I want to talk to you guys today is about visualization. So visualization through that whole process has been just huge for me. Hopefully you can't hear the dog barking in the background, but visualization has just been, it's been massive for me, it really has. And a particular topic that I talk about in my book about visualization, which is called The Day in the Life. This is something that I recommend to traders within Falcon, and just again, if you're a trader, entrepreneur, business person, it really doesn't matter. This is going to work for you, and it's helped me out massively, and I've seen drastic results from people. So just a bit of a rundown. So what I used to do is I used to book a day off work, and I used to think about, right, how would I want to live my life if it was a day in the life as such of every day? How would I want to live my life? What time would I wake up? What time would I go to the gym? So I would book a day off purposely, and sometimes I would do a couple of days. I would book the day off purposely. Let's say it was a Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. If I'm in a coffee shop, local coffee shop, with my laptop, trading, looking at charts, etc., visualizing about me being a full-time trader, I mean, I can write as many goals as possible, put stuff on the vision board, etc., think about it, visualize, but nothing is going to bring that closer until you put yourself in that situation of feeling like, right, this is what my life would be like. So what you do is you book a day off, and you know at 11 a.m. subconsciously, I would normally be at work. You know that you shouldn't be where you are. But what that does, the more you do that, you start to think about, do you know what? I've had an amazing day, and you're going to hold on to those feelings. It's going to be such a positive anchor to your subconscious mind to make you feel like, this is how I want to live my life every day. And then what it does is it stops the people that are just flirting with the idea of becoming successful in trading or becoming successful in general. Because why? You've taken action. You then start to visualize yourself. The next day, guaranteed, when you go back to work, you're going to be sitting there thinking, I wish I was just, you don't have to go to a coffee shop, but I wish I was living my life on my own terms. So I highly recommend that you do that. Whatever industry you're in, whatever strategy you trade, you can do that. It's not relevant to Falcon. This is just a process of making it feel real in your mind. And if you're serious about it, you'll do that. Some people have booked, within Falcon, have booked a week off of work because they want to feel like, right, if I was to do this every day, waking up routine, waking up 5 a.m., what time do you go to the gym? What time do you plan your breakfast, etc.? Having that freedom is actually the little things. It's the little things like just being able to go downstairs into your kitchen and make a coffee just because you feel like it. You haven't got anybody watching over your shoulder. Forget about the monetary value and all that kind of stuff. That comes as a side effect of being a great trader. But nothing is going to push you greater than you believing it's already happened. You have to become present with it. I actually have one of my very first journals with me. Actually, this is a whole shelf of journals up there. For those of you that know me well, I always journal. I'm very old school in that respect. And this one was 2012. So I'll show you a bit about this one. And at this point, I didn't really have much in my life at that point. For those of you that don't know, I don't come from money or wealth or anything like that. I was born in the southeast of England, and I was, raised in a council estate, as they say, in the UK. So by any means, not born into money or anything like that. And these goals at the time, I mean, just looking at the goals here, Audi A3, 2-litre TDI. This was the 5th of the 5th, 2012. And at that point, this was one of my very first journals. This is probably the first journal that I actually went out to WH Smith's and spent a considerable amount on it at the point that I thought something like £20. But before that, as you can imagine, people were writing their goals on, just scrap bits of paper. And the truth is, this is another little tip. If you take your goals seriously, Get something that you value. I've kept this in 2012 and many others. So if you want to, be serious about your goals, you need to write in something that you actually, take seriously, that you can take some pride in. And there's something special about even just looking back and seeing your goals written out in your own handwriting. That really just works in the subconscious. You can write stuff out in an Evernote and all that kind of stuff, but nothing is going to bring it closer when you see it in your own handwriting, not to mention when you just tick that off. It's crazy. So just looking here, I actually achieved this goal of the 2-litre Audi A3 at the time. I achieved it on the 14th of September. So it was literally a month before. Yeah, I think it was exactly a month before. But I had it down as that I have my Audi A3 on the 15th of the 10th, 2012. And I got it before. So that alone, sometimes you set goals and you will achieve it before that you actually put the date down, and then sometimes it will take a little bit longer. That was just one goal that I achieved before. There's been goals which I've set and I've achieved them 6 months later. And I think this is the process of where people are putting too much emphasis on things like deadlines, because they think that if I don't hit the goal by that deadline, I've failed. And then you overlook the amount of progression that you've actually made, which is why I talk about measuring your progression every 90 days. Why is that good? Because you can do it quarter by quarter. First quarter, second, third, fourth. You can break that out into 90 days, and then essentially every 90 days, rather than saying, I haven't achieved this, I haven't achieved that, you take a look at it from a different angle and say, well, how far have I come? And the reason why this is important is because if I set a goal, let's take a materialistic one, for example. If I set a materialistic goal, how do I know, let's say I set it for 12 months, that I'm going to get that goal in 12 months? I can have a rough guide that I'm going to push myself towards that, but what if it happened in 13 months, 1 month later? Would I look back and then say, no, I failed, I got that goal 1 month later? No, there's only unrealistic deadlines, because these deadlines are set in my head or other people's heads. When they're setting these deadlines, they often think that because they set it at a time that they thought it should happen in, they then get upset. This actually translates back to trading a lot. People say, I want to be a consistently profitable trader in 6 months. And then guess what? They work really hard, they put in all the hours, their analysis is great, and then something in their mind's going, how have I not got it? I didn't achieve that success, I failed. And then they start the cycle of self-sabotage. So you see how setting these deadlines are not really going to serve you. Having clear and concise goals is important, but measuring your progression is so much more. When you start tying that in with visualization, I promise you, you'll start to bring your goals closer psychologically in your mind. And it's going to feel real, and that's the most important thing. So just touching on visualization again, what I was speaking about earlier, people always ask me, what's the most important thing that I can do with my goal setting? Now, the thing is, it doesn't matter. Even people that haven't, they don't know how to write all their goals out specifically, they don't know how to break it down. Even if you haven't done that, visualization is single-handedly the most important part. And you need to find places of where you actually get your inspiration from. So I'm currently at Leeds Castle at the moment. This is somewhere that's local to me, places where I walk the dogs, things like that. Sometimes your head can get a little bit cloudy and you have to put yourself in different situations. Go somewhere just to gain a bit of clarity. And this is a place that I love coming here every single time when I've got my journal. And I think that what happens is people spend way too much time on goals that are not as important to them as what they think. The quickest way to feel unfulfilled is to just focus on materialistic things. Focusing on things like Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, they're good and they're great goals to have, but the truth is, if you're only focusing on goals that you want to have, which is what I talk about in my book a lot, you'll just feel unfulfilled. And happiness is internal, and I think in this industry it's more important to touch on this, because you just see so much of how I'm quitting my job in 25 days, all of that garbage, and that's the quickest way for especially young people coming into this industry. I want to show people that it's not the right mindset to have when you come into this space. You want to go into this space focusing on things like becoming the asset, learning the skill set, not about how much pips you can make or how much money that you can make. Yes, the side effect of being a great trader is that you do that, but going in with the right mindset is so important. So wherever you are in the world, find whether it's a lake, a forest, go to a spa, go to somewhere that's peaceful.
if you go to somewhere that's peaceful, I guarantee you that you'll find some sense of clarity in what you want. And focus on things that you want to do and be, not just have. So just a quick tip from my book actually, write down 10 things that you want to do, be, and have. Now at the start, you're going to find things that you're going to start writing really quickly. And after a while, you're going to start to be a little bit stuck. That's normal. What happens is that's where new thought patterns happen, because you'll sit there, you'll feel uncomfortable, and you'll think, I don't know what else to write. I've already written 4 things down. I don't know what else I want to do or be. You'll probably have at the beginning very quickly, and that's what happened to me a lot of years ago. I'll show you one of my old journals in 2012. I could write out my have very, very fast, and then when it comes to do and be, I was a little bit stuck. I don't know what I want to do or be. It was always materialistic, and that doesn't push you. Now my ways of goal setting starts to change. Rather than focusing on, making enough money to buy a particular goal, let's say a car, for example, costs £100,000. If your goal is to just make enough money to then have £100,000 to then buy the car, I promise you feel unfulfilled. A way that I now set goals that I feel that is much more empowering is by hitting milestones and then rewarding myself as a side effect of that. It doesn't always have to be financial, it could be anything else. But if you're doing things and then rewarding yourself as a side effect of doing something else, your goals are just elevated so much higher, rather than focusing on, I need this much money to buy this and then I think I'll be happy, because you won't. The thing is, you have to feel like you have the goal before it's happened, hands down. And since 2011, 2012, I've been actively doing that. I've been journaling it every step of the way, documented the full process. And it's no coincidence. And a little bit of a background story to myself, and most people think that, well, I'm never going to be able to get that because I wasn't born into money and things like that. I was the complete opposite to born into money. Do not use that as an excuse, because that, again, that's holding you back. The truth is, what you want to do is just gain some clarity on your goals, and just make sure that you're focusing on goals that are actually important to you, because I see a lot of people focusing on stuff that's just not important to them, and they don't realize it until a later stage, and you'd be doing yourself a disservice, I promise you. Whether you're a trader, whether you're an entrepreneur and you're focusing on business, the best way that you're going to feel happy in that process is just focusing on the process and just being content with yourself, being happy about the fact that you actually know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, gain some clarity on it and actually take the time to spend time doing it. Most people will spend 5 hours searching for the cheapest deal on the next holiday, but they won't spend 5 hours focusing on their next goal that they want, to work that one out. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not where I want to be, maybe take a step back and think about, how much time am I actually investing in actually focusing on my goals? Or do I just think, right, I want that car, I want this watch, I want that, but you haven't actually spent the time to think about what you actually want. So guys, visualization, it is the biggest key, for me anyway, and I've found that to just elevate me to new levels every single year.
One thing that I want to leave it on is actually just explain a little bit of a story about my own personal journey. So about 3 years ago, well, actually take it back even further. When I was younger, of course, like a lot of people, you have a dream, a goal to have a supercar. It's always, you see them, you think, I can't wait till I have that. And that was one of my goals as well on my journey to creating more wealth and success. And it got to a point, it was about 3 years ago, I remember, I was in a position in which that financially I could afford to have a supercar, whether it be a McLaren, Lamborghini, Ferrari. They're not as hard to access as what people think. Just because someone has a supercar doesn't mean they're a multi-millionaire. So let's get that one clear. And I think people are infatuating with people with those supercars. But the truth is, at that point, I could go and get it technically, right? You can access the car. And when I started to really think about it, I didn't want it as much as I thought I did at that time. And my goals started to change. And I started to think about, it would be great to have it, but it's not the right time. I want to do other things first. And once I achieve other goals, they can be personal goals, they can be fitness goals, they can be any type of other goals. But there was 2 to 3 other personal goals that I wanted to achieve before I get that goal. And then I rewarded myself with the McLaren as a side effect of other goals. And I want you guys and girls to actually think about that and take that away, because I think you would be doing yourself a disservice if your goals were predicated on just saving up as much money or making enough money to say, right, I set out to get that goal, I got the money, and then I bought it. And then those people, and I speak to those people on a daily basis, they're unhappy, they're unfulfilled, because the truth is, happiness is internal. And if you really want to achieve things in your life, you need to make sure that you get your mindset right. So then you're actually focusing on goals that are important to you, not to others. That is so important. So in the McLaren, yes, it's a lovely supercar, I absolutely love it, but at the same time, it represents to me, so much more than what people realize. It's not about going to get the supercar. A lot of people can get a supercar, put it that way. You can access it quicker than you think. But the truth is, it's what it represents. And I think that's far more important and serves us better when you're focusing on goals that are a side effect of achieving other goals. It just elevates you to a whole new level. So when I reward myself with something like one of my recent watches, when I was in Dubai, I got myself an AP, and that was a goal that I had for a long period of time. Could I have got it before? Yes, years ago. But it wasn't the right time. I wanted to do certain things. And then guess what? That acts as a lovely milestone for me. And it just means so much more. So I hope you really listen to that, because I can see how people just really get affected by materialistic goals. And I honestly believe you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't allow yourself to elevate that so much higher. And it's just so much more enjoyable in the process. So I hope you've taken value from this episode and this video. We're going to be doing more on goal setting, more specific parts, but the visualization part, honestly, do the day in the life. I would love to know your thoughts, because I know that it's just gonna change that chemical balance in your mind, and you're gonna start to feel so much more confident with your goals, and can't wait to see you do it. Leave a comment if you do it, and I would love to hear your thoughts.